Evening, folks. Welcome back to The View for the preview for Leeds United versus Millwall tomorrow night. Joined by Paul from the Leeds Therapy to have a chat around this game. We're also going to have a look at the last 10 games for the three promotion rivals. We'll go through the team news and we'll also go through the form guide for both sides coming into this game. But we'll start off by checking in with Paul. How are you, mate? How's things?
Absolutely loving life. Loving life at the moment. No, I'm good. I'm good, thank you. Very, very good. I've gotten over the weekend now, the Sunday, so I'm looking forward to attending Ellen Road tomorrow night. I've got to walk up 11 flights of stairs to the top of the family stand, so yeah, it should be good fun. I'm fine, mate. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, busy week, a little bit tired, but I'm all right. I'm here, and again, like you, I've gotten past the weekend. More case of groans around the place more than throwing cups at walls. I think I kind of walked away from it going, just come on. But as has been said, hopefully Leeds' little wobble is behind us. Daniel Farke has talked this week already about not having a capitulation like last season. He said there won't be a collapse. Take him at his word. Hopefully he's had some conversations. I would imagine, Paul, some lineup changes for tomorrow night.
The only change I can see happening, the only thing I can see happening is Aronson coming out. That's the only thing I can see happening. I think Aronson, it's not so much that he's been poor. I think that his levels in terms of where he's been playing have dropped off significantly over the past probably 3 games, I would have said. And I would say that the game against Portsmouth was his worst game to date for a very, very long time. So that's the only thing I can see changing, but we know Farke, it won't happen. I don't think. I think the teams will probably be the same, but if there was to be a change, it'd be that.
Yeah, I agree with that one. But I think he gave them the benefit of the doubt after the West Brom game. I think that the Portsmouth game was the same team. Go fix what happened against West Brom. And they didn't. I think I would make a couple. I think Manor Solomon's not been at his best in the last 3 games. Not that he's been bad, but he's not been at the levels he was at before. That has been a little bit of a dip in form from him, especially on output. That's not all his fault. If Joel Piroux knew where the goal was at the weekend, Manor Solomon would have had 2 assists, but he didn't. And I think maybe Ramazani gets in or Nanto could force the way back in for this one. But I agree on Aronson as well. I would take him out. My only issue is that's not my issue. It's more Daniel Farke's issue is, does he believe he's got anybody else that can play in that number 10 position, or is he completely sold on the idea and can't move away from it? Has to be Brendan Aronson in there. Or Paul, does he go with Joel Piroux in there and Mateo Joseph up top?
We're getting into this one early, are we? No, is the short answer. This is how I see this. If it was me and I was going to make the change, it would be I would put Rothwell in at the 10 and I would have Gruev and Tanaka in the centre of midfield. I think the big problem with not having Aronson there is there is then an automatic, or if Aronson's not on his game, there is an automatic disconnect between the midfield and the attack. Great. Whereas Rothwell, I think, will probably work a little bit better in that position. Or you could put Tanaka in there. We know Tanaka's done that before, but for me, I'd put Rothwell there.
A couple of people have asked about Tanaka. I don't know if it was David Weatherall or John Newsom or someone, John Newsom on BBC. I think he had said that he'd like to see Tanaka in the 10 as well. It's not exactly the same as a 6, but there's a lot of characteristics of the two positions that are very, very similar. Your link play between the lines, your job is to pass forward if you can, retain possession when you can as well, and all things that Tanaka has in his locker. And he was a little bit off at the weekend as well, Paul, giving the ball away 3 or 4 times on the edge of his own box, been caught in possession.
Caught in possession,
Most have been caught in possession all season in that game.
I think as well there is, and again it comes down to, I think if one of the chain is only as strong as its weakest link, and I think sometimes you can see when Aronson isn't playing very well and that disconnect is there, it then puts a massive strain on everybody else, and it just affects everybody else. I feel like it does, and it feels like everybody's they're trying to do the job of like 2 men almost, and their brain isn't quite switched on to where it needs to be. And I think that is probably could attribute to the way that Tanaka's playing. But you've also got to remember as well, Tanaka's first season with us, the Championship isn't an easy league to play in. It's very, very difficult. It's fast. It's frenetic. It's on you constantly all the time. I sent you a message after the game with regards to games that have been changed for TV or 3 p.m. kickoffs. And since the start of the season, of the 36 games that we've played, only 10 have been at 3 p.m. Don't get me wrong. I understand schedule changes and stuff, that again, weekends and moves and that's fine. But 26 of our games have been moved or rescheduled for TV pretty much. And it's very, very difficult for me to kind of adjust to that a little bit. It just makes it just weird for me. It's just, I'm not one for conspiracy theories, but you start to look at some stuff and you go, that kind of makes it,
Look at April. They've moved 2 of these games for TV in April. They haven't touched Burnley or Sheffield United in that month. Yeah,
it doesn't surprise me. And
pretty
both Sheffield and Burnley playing on Saturday at 3 p.m. It's just like, what? Constantly. But look, at the end of the day, we've got to go and grab it with both hands. That's just what we need to do. So we'll just have to wait and see how it all pans out.
Yeah, I've kind of put the last 2 games down to just a massive hangover from the end of the previous 2 games. That elation and getting your adrenaline levels and everything up to that height, you are going to come back down with a crash at some point, and hopefully it's done, it's dusted, we've learned the lessons, and we can push on now. But Smarty's asking a decent question. I won't give him too much credit because it is Smarty, but we're asking a decent question. He says, do you lads think the emotion of Sunday's result has the fans clamoring for change, when really it's probably the last thing we want to do, make dramatic changes? Drastic. Good question.
Well, Smarty, 100% correct. Leeds, we know what Leeds United fans are like. They're absolutely well, we all suffer from PTSD. It's one of those things. We all have that. As soon as something even mildly slightly goes wrong, you see it online straight away. They're quickly asking for, Barker's not good enough, get him out. This player's not good enough. I'm sure Gilly enjoyed Sunday's game because Aronson had a really poor game. So that sort of just backs up how he likes to feel about that. But it does. It's there's a lot of throwing the towel in very, very, very quickly sometimes with some of our fan base, and again, it's not because of it's the PTSD element. As soon as something slightly negative happens, it's, oh my God, here we go again. Listen, everybody, you need to be aware of this. The next 10 games are going to be horrific. It doesn't matter which way you look at it or how it goes. They're going to be horrific. Strap yourselves in.
Yeah.
Make sure you've got plenty of sports drinks, antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, crack, whatever you want to take that makes you feel happy. But just strap yourselves in, because this is going to be a bumpy ride, which at the end of it, we will enjoy. But during this period, it's going to be horrific, and you just need to get used to it.
I would like to just say, use crack responsibly, please, to those in the chats. We're not supported by any drug affiliated product.
There are other manufacturers, not just So look at that one, you'll be fine.
There's one every week, Paul. There's one every week that just gets the tickle bone. Love it. Well done, mate. That was very good. Yeah, we're going to talk about the last 10 games because it is relevant, and we're going to look at the running of both. Well, not both us, the 3 of us that are left in it, Burnley, ourselves, and Sheffield United. I would also just to add to Smarty's question and what Paul has said there as well. Leicester fans did the exact same thing last season, nearly identical. They had a little bit of a wobble, and I remember Locke's been on Joe Wayman's channel, and Locke was saying he has to go. Sack Maresca. There was a ton of them wanted Maresca sacked. And then when they got past their wobble, they still wanted him sacked after they got promoted. So I think when you get to this point of the season, it's pure anxiety just kicks in. It's like you're so close to the finishing line, and any kind of a wobble now is essentially tripping up on the last hurdle. So I understand it. I do understand it to a degree. The overreaction at this part of the season bothers me less than at the start of a season, because you can kind of see where it's going at this point. But as you said, we've seen this movie before. We know how it ends, and we're trying to book the trend this year. So hopefully we can. But we'll get into all that stuff. There's loads of comments going on there. I'll catch up with them in a second. I did want to just say one real quick thing before we get into the Millwall preview, and that's Sam Chambers signing a new professional deal at the club this week. 3-year deal brings him to 2028. Daniel Farke talking about himself and Harry Gray this week, saying that they both got huge futures ahead of themselves at the club, but we have to be patient with them. But great deal for him, Paul, wasn't it? And the fact that he's already contributed this season again against Millwall in the Cup and his debut against Plymouth.
Yeah, no, fantastic. I was at the Middlesbrough game when he came on in the second half for the Middlesbrough game, and I thought he looks big, he looks strong, he looks really good, like he's got a bright future, very technically sound, fast. I like everything that I see about him. I like his attitude as well. And you can't do anything other than congratulate him. Obviously, he couldn't sign his deal up until he was 18 because, because that's your first professional contract. I'm getting a lot of stick in the comment about my boots. And it's, starting to, I'm about to nutmeg, even if you're on my team. During that, I am going to be nutmegging people. But anyway, so yeah, and I'm really pleased for him. I think he's got a really bright future. Both him and Harry have. So yeah, it's good news. Very, very good news.
Yeah, his stats this season for the under-21s are ridiculous. Sam Chambers. So yeah, keep an eye on playing more centrally for them than he has for us in the first team. Farke has played him more wide, but he said that's part of his development. Arsene Wenger did the same thing with Thierry Henry successfully. Played him out in the wing before he brought him inside. Then tried it with Walcott, didn't work to the same extent. He never really got the hang of the wide area. But yeah, it's working so far, so good for Sam Chambers. So congratulations to Sam. Yeah. Harry's a bit off, but yeah, he's only 16, so he's still got a couple of years before he can sign a pro deal. Just hope we can hang on to him until then and see where he goes, because he has been training with the first team as well. But Farke has been patient with him, no rush. We'll see how he gets on. So yeah, a couple of bits to get stuck into tonight. We'll throw it up on the screen. We will keep an eye on the score of the game that is kicking off early, which is the Burnley West Brom game. The last time they played each other was a 0-0 draw, although Burnley have decided to find their shooting boots in the last couple of weeks. So we'll keep an eye on that one as well. But we'll get into a few bits and pieces. The league table, as it stands, I know it's hard to believe, you wouldn't get it from the reaction, but Leeds still top of the table. That 5-point gap is gone, but it was there to give us the cushion for when we had our wobble. There's the wobble, and we're still top of the table right now. Sheffield United in second on goal difference, and then Burnley 2 points behind us in third place. The key takeaway for this one is the home and the away form. From the home form perspective, Leeds best home form in the league. That little D at the end there causing us a little bit of concern, but hopefully goes away after this game. Millwall in the away table, 7th best away record in the league this season, 2 away wins on the road in the last 2 games coming into this. So coming in with a little bit of form, and obviously they do have the win over Leeds in the FA Cup at Ellen Road earlier on this year. So Alex Neil and Daniel Farke have a little bit of history with each other, and we'll get to that. So far in their history, Farke has won 2 of their head-to-heads. Neil has won 3, and there's been 3 draws in that space of time. Paul, on their record coming into this game, would you be concerned, worried slightly, or is it just Millwall being Millwall? You just got to keep an eye on them.
I think it's more Millwall being Millwall. You just, excuse me, you've just got to keep an eye on them. We talked on it, just briefly before we came on. There's some obviously injury problems that they've got. There's Aziz. Doesn't look like he's going to make the game, which is obviously he scored the 2 in the FA Cup. They have quite an extensive injury list at the moment. So they've got McNamara out, Scanlon out, Hutchinson out, Langstaff out, Nagil out, Lovelace out. What a surname that is, by the way. Roberts out. Doubtful is Leonard as well. Aziz isn't in the list of people that's out there, but Roberts is out because of a suspension. So there's quite a plethora of players that they've got out as well. So a lot of people are saying, with regard, when we lost at the Den, that was more kind of, I think there was a lot going on in the background for Millwall, particularly with their manager that obviously got booted out, which made no sense. But just in terms of their manager and a lot of the team were really playing for him towards the end, and we just got bullied in that game. We're a different proposition now. The FA Cup team, it was a completely different team. Probably the only person that starts that one is Strauch realistically, then it's just. I think we win. I really do think we win. We've got too much. We should have, and this is the PTSD bit. Just we've got too much quality, or we should have too much quality for them, and the overall what we have versus what they have, and what the players that they've got out. We should be better. Should be better.
Yeah, I get that saying, that old football saying in the back of my head, though, when we talk like that, because I was doing it before the Portsmouth game in West Brom, of hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I think arguably against Millwall, Leeds just didn't show up. Leggy, lethargic kind of performance. I think I described it as a lack of balls in the game, really, just to go and grab the game by the scruff of the neck and try and do something with it. But you hope it's out of your system. You shouldn't need lifting for this game. Josh Gilavogi calling for the fans to be the 12th man tomorrow night. It's a Wednesday night in Ellen Road against Millwall. Josh, I don't think you're going to have a problem with the crowd. Make sure that
Did you see some of the responses to that Twitter post that he did, though? Some of the responses on the Twitter post that he did, some people were being a little bit nasty to him. So it was just like, why do we do that? Why are we like that? Just behave. But I mean, listen, everybody's entitled to be annoyed. It's fine. But generally speaking, when we've lost, and this is only the 4th time we've lost this season, bearing in mind that what did Leicester lose last season? 10, I think, about 10 games. The Newcastle team the Newcastle team that absolutely trounced the league, lost 10 times that league.
Leicester lost 11 games last season. 11.
Yeah, that's it. 11 games. So it's not. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater just yet. But what we've always done really well is we've bounced back well after a defeat. So hopefully we see the same thing overall. So
yeah, it's not only players they're missing. They're missing quite a considerable bunch of their fan base apparently as well. They've returned 391 tickets. All this from Millwall fans, and then they don't turn up on a Wednesday night.
I think that's all that they've sold. I don't think that's what they're returning. I think that's all that they've sold.
God.
Hang on a second. I'll tell you for definite. Hang on.
We should stick him in that gap between the South Stand and the West Stand.
It's going to happen. With Millwall selling just 391 tickets for tomorrow night's clash, an extra allocation has now been made available to LUFC members.
Oh dear. Just 391. It's a couple of buses.
Yeah, and then a Millwall fan on Twitter turned around and said, just remember, up until a couple of years ago, you had no fans whatsoever. And it's like, you really have no idea about us at all. So whatever.
We don't talk about League One days. That was a different thing. There was lots of other reasons for not going to games. Boycotts with Chilino and everything else. So.
Yeah. Scared to go into the toilet in case you're on candid camera. That type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Different times. But now it's all better now. Paul, Farke hasn't got the best of records against Alex Neil. The only other manager we really talked about him having a wobbly record against is John Eustace. And they seem to have a little bit more than us at Ellen Road, albeit we made 10 changes coming into that game. How do you feel about the head-to-heads with this and Farke's style versus a more aggressive style?
The one big miss for us in this game is going to be Ampadu. Ampadu is that steel and that strength within the middle of the park without a shadow of a doubt. But with that being said, I have a feeling that some of our players are going to be wanting to prove a point from Portsmouth, are going to be wanting to put right the wrong that happened at Portsmouth. So his record's not brilliant. I mean, it's not that bad when you look at it realistically. It's 3 losses, 3 draws, 2 wins. So for me, records are there to be broken, aren't they?
That's exactly it. Yeah, and we've done enough of that this year. So, there's been plenty of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, we'll have, where's your head at? You think we win this game? You've already said that. They're missing a ton of players. My confidence is wobbling a little bit. I'll admit that out loud. I'm not as confident as I was going into the Portsmouth game. I thought we'd just get back to normal and steamroll them. But as you say, I think there will be a slightly more wound-up Leeds United coming into this game, or at least we hope they will. I hope they come out with a bit of bite on them. Where's your head at result-wise? We win. What score? What are you thinking?
my head is going for a 2-0 victory. That's where I see us being.
And Brendan has also got 9 goals. So if we're going to just put up stats, we should put up the whole thing. He has got 9. So he's got 11 goal contributions this season, just to balance it out there, Gav.
He's also created more chances than anybody else. I think he's up to something like 58 to 60 chances created.
Yeah, it's the same as my criticism of Solomon over the 8 weekend, which is based purely on the fact that Joel Pearl didn't finish them. If he had finished them, you're not talking about a poor performance. You're talking about 2 assists.
No, 100%.
Yeah, but I would agree that 2 is quite low. If his goal tally was lower, we'd have a serious problem. But the fact that he's got something there and he still has some time to turn it around, so hopefully he will. And he's not in the US squad. He hasn't been called up for the US national side, which means he gets a little bit of a rest, and he needs that. Probably flogged the hell out of Aronson. We should also remember, up until the last 2 games, he played more minutes than any other Leeds player this season. So, yeah, well, outside of Villamelier, but he's not running on the pitch all day. Right, Paul, let's have a look at the next couple of games, the run-ins for both sides. Start with Sheffield United, Bristol City tonight at home, then Sheffield Wednesday away, Coventry home, Oxford, not Ford, Oxford home, Millwall at home, Plymouth away, Cardiff home, Burnley away, Stoke City away, Blackburn at home.
Yeah.
What do you think? There's a couple of
That's a tough run of fixtures. I think there's some. I mean, the Sheffield Wednesday away, that's not going to be a walkover. The Coventry at home, although we don't want to admit it. I mean, I've always liked Frank Lampard. I think he's a real stand-up guy. Love everything about him and everything that he's doing with that squad. So, fair play to him. So they've got some difficult fixtures in there. I think Blackburn is potentially a difficult one. I think Stoke's a difficult one. Coventry, definitely. Bristol City's not an easy game for them tonight, but they'll get battered by Bristol City, but they'll end up scoring like in the 89th minute or something silly like that. The best way to look at it tonight overall is just expect Burnley and Sheffield United to win. Just expect them to win. They're not going to do us any favours. We've got to do what we need to do. But yeah, their running is trickier than ours, I would say. Definitely. Just with that run of games that they've got to do there.
Pickard, he's top of Leeds' big chances created this season. But he was in the top 10 in the league just after Christmas, but I haven't looked at it since then. But he was, although his dip has come since Christmas, so that would make sense.
I can find out for definite for you.
Yeah, I'll ask you a couple of questions. I think you're right on the fixtures there. Coventry, especially in the run of form that they're in right now, very different team than they were earlier on in the season. So that's not going to be an easy game. Millwall is Millwall. Like, they won't make it easy for you either. And then they have to play Burnley, which is the big one. Someone is dropping points there between the two of them. That gives somebody, if Leeds do drop off a little bit, that gives you an opportunity again. And then Blackburn, they are at home on the final day of the season, but there could be pressure going into that game as well. And, Blackburn might be nice and safe and can enjoy their day out, but it's definitely got more banana skins in it than Leeds have. I think from the Leeds perspective, looking at them, we all have PTSD from QPR last season, so we'll keep that on the list for now anyway. Middlesbrough away for me is a tricky one. They obviously gave us problems at the start of the season in the Cup as well. And then, as you say, Bristol City after that and Stoke at home, but they're both at home for Leeds. So again, I would be okay enough with those two. So what's your thoughts on the Leeds? Actually, if you have the Brendan Aronson thing.
I do, yeah. So Aronson's on 55, Rothwell's on 54, Solomon's on 42. So he's the top chances created player in the squad at Leeds.
Yeah. Okay. And Leeds have created, I think, the most amount of chances of any team in the league, which goes to show where a lot of our problems are tonight. So, even outside talking about Aronson, Jesus, if half of those chances are put away, you're miles ahead of everybody else. But conversion rates have been our issue over the last 2 seasons, but we'll see if it's better next year. Paul, Leeds list there, he stand out. As I said, Middlesbrough and Bristol City are the two for me, but any one there that you'd be worried about outside Millwall, I suppose?
The biggest one that I'm probably worried about more than anything is probably QPR away. I think that is going to be a difficult one. We know how that ended last season with a 4-0 defeat, which in all honesty, when we went there, nobody was expecting that to happen, and it just happened out of nowhere whatsoever at all. I think Preston at home could be difficult. And Bristol City potentially, but overall, the way I look at it like this is would you swap? Would you swap our running for Sheffield United's running?
No.
Would you swap our running? I've done it again. Swap. Would you swap our running for Burnley's running?
No.
Would you change?
I'll tell you why.
Would you change? Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was going to say the reason I wouldn't is they have to play each other. So there's a top 2 game in that or top 3 game in that. They both have Coventry, and I don't think Watford away is an easy fixture either.
No, it's not. Then the next question is would you swap our first 11 for Sheffield United's first 11?
No.
Would you swap our first 11 for Burnley's first 11?
It's a very good way of putting it. No, I wouldn't.
We just need to combine and win as a team. That's it. That's what we need to do. So
yeah, no, it's a very fair point. But look at again, West Brom. We'll see how that goes later on. Oh, that's already kicked off. They're 15 minutes into that, still 0-0. But again, Bristol City in there, Coventry City in there. They're away to Coventry, which makes it that's even tougher than potentially Sheffield United have them at home. Derby and a new manager, Norwich at home. Yeah, if Eustace has got Derby moving by the time they face them, maybe that's a trickier game as well. And then Watford away isn't a straightforward game. And to finish the season at Millwall, like they will just want to ruin your party and upset you. So if you're going into that game needing something, they're going to just ruin your day.
I remember I was listening on Square Ball. Trafford is on 7 yellow cards so far this season for time wasting. Wouldn't it be funny if we got another 3 yellow cards and had to miss a game? So we'll just have to wait and see kind of what happens with that. But yeah, I wouldn't swap it for anything. I just think we just need to focus on ourselves. Like I said, some of those away games for both of those teams in their running I wouldn't be looking forward to that. You've got Burnley and Stoke away, one after the other. That is horrific. That's absolutely horrific in terms of fixtures wise. And then you've got
really having a complaint about that. If we had those two towards the back end of the season, both away from home, you would have a problem with it.
100%, 100%. So, yeah, and you look at it like you're just looking at see that stretch of 3 games in there for Burnley. You've got Norwich, Watford, Sheffield United. That's tough as well. In all honesty,
wait to QPR again that part of the year.
Yeah, that's not great. That's really not great. So, yeah, just win all 10 games. That's all we need to do. So it's like we were all crying, weren't we? When we all came back after COVID, and then it was all bad, and then all of a sudden we won the league by 10 points. So this is a chance for us not to be Leedsy. Fingers crossed we won't be. Is what I'm saying. Hopefully.
I get that. Yeah, and it was at this point when Marcelo Bielsa's team started moving. It was when this was the week, although pre-COVID. Yeah, because COVID started today, 5 years ago, was the anniversary of COVID. Jesus. And the week before that was the Huddersfield game when Luke Ayling scored that volley from the edge of the box from the cross. And that was, for me, that was the day Leeds are up. If our fullback is doing things like that, we're getting promoted.
I want to get that picture blown up, and just the way that he does that is just nutty. That shot is everything for me. It's brilliant.
I have a little sporting Hall of Fame in one of our bathrooms, and it's Muhammad Ali standing over Sonny Liston. Then it's Michael Jordan's the last shot. Yeah, it's all black and white. He's in red, and then there's Luke Ayling scoring a volley against Huddersfield. That's my Hall of Fame of sporting stars. Like, so he's absolutely right there. Massive. I should have Packy Bonner saving the penalty against Romania.
True.
Yeah, I will at some point. I'll add to it, but yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, one of my favorite moments as a Leeds fan. I lost my mind, and that was that was it. And then the next 9 games after, or 10 games after that, was able to enjoy the ride all the way into the Premier League, and it was fantastic. And I hope this is the turn now. You know, yep, there's the quote. Always gone and got his ponytail out. Yeah.
Then slides in playing his fake guitar.
Yeah. He scored some bangers for us. Yeah. So yeah, that's the hope. Anyway, look, it's still 0-0 between Burnley and West Brom. 18 minutes gone in that game. Pod, any final thoughts before you wrap up, or what's going on over at your channel this week?
I have a preview. So the preview's coming out. That'll be going up later on this evening. Obviously, after being on here, then I'm obviously at Ellen Road tomorrow night, so I will be doing my review of that game. Hopefully, happy. Later on, when I actually get home from Ellen Road, I will be trying to get in late in the evening, so I miss hopefully the first couple of goals. So that will be great. Stats wise, I'm just watching the West Brom Burnley game as well at the moment. It's nearly 60. It's nearly 60% possession for West Brom. They've had 2 shots. Their expected goals is 0.09, but Burnley so far is 0. So we all know how that one's going to end up.
Yeah, before we wrap up, I'll show you something. Just to give you a visual. West Brom goal. Joe Blackburn. Yes, West Brom have scored. It is. West Brom have scored.
Yeah.
West Brom 1, Burnley 0. Yeah. I was just going to stick the momentum graph up on the screen just to give you an idea what it is. But there you go. I'll share it with you now. It's an impromptu watch along.
Love it.
There you go. There's your momentum graphs. All West Brom. And then there's the goal. Jonathan Swift, one of Marcelo Bielsa's favorite young players. He wanted Swift for a while, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Great. Well, look, go and enjoy the rest of your evening, folks. Check out Paul's channel for his preview and his reviews as well. And I'm back in the morning for Leeds News. Enjoy the rest of your evening, folks. Talk to you soon. See ya.